Alright, now that we have some of the main fundamentals covered, it's time to show you how to import your Act 1 lesson bundle and get you familiar with your new editing landscape so that we're all organized and ready to play. Let the games begin.
Alright, so here we are. This is the start window that comes up when you first start up Premiere Pro. And what we're going to want to do is start a new project. So clicking New Project. This new project window pops up, and essentially you want to give your project a name. So Act 1, and I'll just say teaching for just so I can stay nice and organized, and you want to put it in a location. So just click on Browse and it'll open up. Yours might look different if you're on a Mac. This is Windows that I'm in on a PC. So you want to place it somewhere that you'll know where it goes. So I've got a drive down here called Production Drive. It's a separate drive just to keep my things organized. And I have a folder called Projects, Green Screen MAJIK, and then Lessons is where I'm going to put mine. So I'll select that. I don't have to really worry about the rest of this at this point. That's good enough for now. Push OK. And here we go. This is what pops up. This is the default editing layout here in Premiere Pro. And we've got a bunch of windows that will make more sense when we get some media in here. So what we'll do first is we're going to come down into our project window and import some media. There's a couple ways to do that. One is to right click and go import. That opens up a window. Then you'll just want to navigate to where you have your file folder saved that we've supplied you. So where did I put mine? I've got mine Lesson Material Act 1. There we go. So there's all the stuff that we've sent you, maybe a little bit more too, because I've got Brad's stuff. And I'll just select that folder and import folder. There we go. So now we've got the folder, Act 1, with all the material in it. Another way to do that is actually just going into your file folder and finding it here and just dragging and dropping it directly in works as well. Either way works. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down and find our main video. And we'll right click on that. We're going to create new sequence from clip. We'll right click, or we'll click on there, and that sends it, there we are, into a timeline, and you can now see the video that the timeline shows. This is our playhead. So this essentially is the place in that clip that we're seeing as the window, and this is when we push play that comes across. We've got video layers 1, 2, and 3, as well as audio layers all present. This clip has both audio and video linked together. That will play. There we go. And you can see. Great, so this is a good start, just importing our video. However, I've never been quite a fan of the default editing layout here in Premiere Pro, so I'm going to invite you to change your setup to look more like the way that I enjoy using it. I find it's a lot more effective and efficient as well. So we're going to work together and create that space to make it look just the way I use it. So the first thing we want to do is move this project window so it's all by itself. And when you do that, you click and hold and you start moving it around. Don't let go, but you can start seeing how you can actually navigate where you want to place this. You can place this to the side of the window. You can add it to this window, over here, over there. What we want to do is actually all by itself come across. So it shows green. You let go. There we go. Now we've got a window all by itself. It's a little on the big side. So we're just going to navigate it across here using this border. Here we go. Just navigate it across. like so. That's pretty good. Now you can easily see all your assets in Act 1 folder. We'll just talk about that briefly. So you've got here your videos. You can see the little icons show that there's video with audio linked together. This icon shows this is a sequence that you can start adding a whole bunch of layers together, and it will remember how your layers are all in this piece here. A couple more video layers. You've got the outro scene as well, the intro scene, Brad's video that I'm going to be using. This is essentially the video that you'll be supplying for your footage that you'll learn to create for yourself down the road. And then we've got some audio tracks. So we've got some elevator music, some elevator sound effects, and then the audio track that we will link together with this video track. There we go. So that's essentially the assets for this Act 1. We're going to continue moving our screen around. So down here we've got a media browser. This is essentially the same thing as when you go into this sort of window-like thing. I never really use it, so I'm just going to close that, so you can close that panel. Same with the libraries, don't really need that right now. Info, don't really need. Effects though, it's nice to have, so I'll drag this all the way across and put that to the right of this window. Again, it's a little bit big, so I'll move it across. There we go. It's nice just to have my different effects ready to go. Back over here, we don't need markers, so I'll close that. And history, sometimes it's nice to know if I go back, I can see what I've done and undo those things. So maybe if we want, we can just move this history window in with the effects. So you can switch between the two. And that opens up a lot more space now for our timeline, and you'll really start to appreciate that down the road. This is our toolbar. So this is your selection tool. Also, hotkey on your keyboard is a V, so I can move between. If I push V, it will select that. Some of these things you don't need to know. Razor tool though is great. The cut key, also C for cut, selects that. That allows us to cut and slice through the footage that we're using. Therefore, we can like delete things and edit. So you'll get quite familiar with that down the road. We'll go into more detail with this as we progress. I'm just going to move this all the way over here and sit this beside the audio. So we don't need it big like that, so we're going to make this smaller. And then this is our audio meter. So you can see when I'm playing the track, it will show how the audio is. Now, it got a little smaller when I moved things over, so I'm going to open that up just a little bit. We can start seeing the decibel meters, the gauge, and as we go, I'll direct you a little bit more about how to get your audio in the perfect spot. And that's looking pretty good. Up here, this source screen, I use it once in a while, but more importantly is our effect controls. So here, this is how we can actually start controlling our clips. I'm going to move this over a little bit. I like to create my program window with what's going on in my timeline as big as possible. So therefore I can see the details. And it's nice, you can, as you need, you might need a little more room in your timeline for a bit, and you can work down here and you just move down and then you can open this up, get really nice and big if you need. So it's pretty flexible to create as you go. So now this effect control window. So if I click on my clip here, it opens up a whole bunch of options to what I can do and what the effects are in this clip. So if we just go down the list in the video effects, we've got our motion effects, which is essentially our position, our scale, our rotation, where the anchor point is. We've got opacity, some time remapping. So this is some basic things where I can just move my clip up and down, side to side. For positioning, I can make it small, I can make it really big, setting things into place. Rotation I don't use all that often, but you can if you want. And opacity as well. If you open that up, you can set the opacity, create your own custom fades. One thing I do want to set your attention towards is this little toggle animation stopwatch. It's blue, and for some reason the opacity animation is always on when it starts, so I usually turn that off. This is just telling me here that it has some keyframes in here. Do you want to continue? Okay, I don't need keyframes. I'm not doing anything with this clip right now. But let's say if I did want to do a fade in, I can do that with opacity. So let's say I want to fade in, and at this point right here, I want it to become 100%, so I can turn my animation on. That creates a keyframe, as you can see here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Create some space so you can see it. There we go. There's a keyframe at that spot. And if I bring this back, you can see that moves the playhead as well, all the way to the beginning of the clip. Let's create a new keyframe. You can do that here by add remove keyframe. And then I'm going to make this 0 opacity. And then as I push play, which is my space bar, it comes across and you can see it's animating the opacity. There we go. We don't really need that right now, so I'm going to turn that off. Again, the warning comes that it's going to delete those clips. That's okay. Just going to set this back into position. There we go. So here we are. This is pretty much the setup to how I like to work. Now that we've got the same sort of setup, we can move forward. It won't be as confusing. And yeah, and I'm sure will appreciate after the years of use that I've come up with this sort of setup. It should help you with your progress as well.